Hello and welcome to this Key Stage 4 options video for maths. The purposes of this video is to describe the outline of the GCSE maths course, so to give you some examples of what to expect when you hit Key Stage 4, and also to give details of exam specifications, so in particular the exam board that we use at TCA and any exam details that I feel would be beneficial to share with you at this stage. So all students will sit a GCSE in maths at the end of year 11. So that applies for every single student in the academy and every single student nationally as well. From year 10 onwards, you will be set linear. So at this moment in time, we probably have a green half and a blue half, and you set it within bands. Now that will change when you move into year 10, when you will be set from set 1 all the way down to set 6. So there won't be two set 1s, two set 2s. The purpose of that is so that we can then really streamline your foundation and your higher classes, and I'll come on to foundation and higher when I start discussing grades and tier entries. So this is the outline of your GCSE maths course. So you can see below the following topics are the main topics that the GCSE will test. Each of these appear on foundation and higher, and I'll discuss that in a little bit more detail as I get on to the next slide. But in terms of your tier of entry, there are two tiers of entry available for your maths GCSE, which are foundation and higher. Now, if you are in set 1, you will be looking at going to study the higher GCSE course, and if you're in sets 2 and sets 3, you'll be looking at studying foundation. These are interchangeable, so for example, when you get into year 9, if you master the foundations of each of those topics, there is ability to move between the tiers, okay? A final decision on your tier of entries will be made in your mocks in year 11, okay? So if you are wanting to sit the higher GCSE, it is really, really important that in year 9 and year 10, you are working incredibly hard at mastering those areas of maths listed above. So here is a table that is actually from your exam board specification document, and it shows the two tiers of entry for foundation and higher, and it gives you the weighting of each topic within that tier. Okay, so if I just look at foundation, for example, you can see that the weighting for number and ratio is the highest, with algebra coming in second place, and then geometry and statistics, okay? And those weightings are across 3 papers, which I'll talk about in a second. If you look at the higher tier, you can see that there's a more of weighting on the topic of algebra, and that's the logical aspect and being able to use different letters to solve problems, okay, becoming a critical thinker, and that's really a main skill that you will find and see throughout your lessons from year 9 onwards, okay? The ability to be given a really difficult problem, but using your different skills from your number and your algebra and your statistics in order to solve the problem, okay? Currently in Key Stage 3, so in year 7 and year 8, primarily what we have started to do is give you problems within that to get you ready for the transition up into Key Stage 4. Now, year 9 will be an area where you look at number and algebra primarily to build your foundations of those two specific areas, so that when you move into Key Stage 4, into year 10, you'll find that transition a lot more smoother. Okay, your maths at the end of year 11 is assessed with 3 exam papers. The exam papers are all out of 80 marks each, and the papers are 1 hour and 30 minutes long. Okay, so altogether you're looking at 240 marks available to you. Your paper 1 is your only non-calculator paper, so you have 1 non-calculator paper and 2 calculator papers. Again, year 7 and 8, we tend to keep that as non-calculator year groups, so to develop your ability to make sure that you can multiply, divide times without a calculator, but as you move into Key Stage 4, and especially in year 9, your calculator will be more commonly used, okay? In terms of your grading systems for your GCSE in maths, now we've moved away from the A star to C grades that were commonly known a couple of years ago, and we're now working from grades 1 all the way up to 9. Now, I know for some particular subjects, you have just one paper and you don't have a tier of entry like foundation and higher. But if you can see on the screen now, your two different tiers of entry vary your grades that you can get for them. So if you just have a look, so for the higher tier, for example, you can get from anything from a 3 all the way up to a grade 9. Okay, and that's where you get your top grades. So you can see that you range from a grade A star in the old grades all the way down to a D. You can get a U on higher, you can fail higher. I don't want you thinking that you can't fail a higher paper. You can, but the lowest grade for the higher tier is a 3. The foundation, which is in blue, you can see that the foundation ranges from a 1 up to a 5. Again, you can get a U, you can fail it, but the lowest grade for a foundation paper is a 1. The highest grade is a 5. Okay, so that just gives you an idea of the tiers of entry and where your grades lie within those. So if your target, for example, is a grade 4 for the end of year 11, then you'd be probably looking at sitting the foundation paper. If your target's a grade 7 plus, you'd be looking at sitting the higher grade paper. Okay, obviously this works in collaboration with your teachers and how you're doing and from year 9, year 10, year 11. And you can see here, just in the case of the bullet points, broadly the same proportion of students will achieve a grade 4 as they currently did in the old style GCSEs. So the main thing really is that you are working hard in all of those main areas of maths, so number, algebra, ratio, geometry and statistics, and that you're trying to get as many marks as possible. I hope that's given you a little bit of an overview of what to expect in your option subject for maths. Obviously, I know that you can't choose maths as your option, but it just gives you an idea of how maths will look in year 9 upwards. And if you have got any questions whatsoever, please make sure that you ask a member of the maths department and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.